Calaroga Shark Media.
Hey there, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. I'm going to go slow here because I don't want to be accused of something that's not true. So let me ask you a question before I get to story number one. Who do you think the comedian of the year is? All right. Who do you think the comedian of the year is? Think about that. Well, I'll tell you something else, and then we'll do the story. I got to figure out when I'm taping my best specials of the year list. I definitely want to wait to the other side of Jamie Foxx. Then next Tuesday, Ronnie Chang has the Netflix special, and I really liked Ronnie's previous work. But on the other hand, candidly, Johnny Mac's looking to pre-tape a couple things for Christmas week. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to wait too long. I can't record it on December 31st at 11 p.m., so I'm definitely not going to include Michelle Buteau's New Year's Eve show, and I probably will record this before Nate Bargatze comes out on the 24th, and before the Jeff Ross end of the year roast thing on the 27th. So, at some point I'm cutting it off early anyway. Maybe I'll get on the other side of Fox and record it. Okay, I've babbled enough. So did you think about it? Who do you think the comedian of the year is? Consequence of Sound picked Nikki Glazer. Not an absurd pick, but I don't think it's the right pick. Consequence says, this year alone, the all-star comedian dropped the gut-busting and wonderfully morbid and Grammy and Emmy-nominated stand-up special Someday You'll Die. Did anybody care about that one? I haven't met anyone who's cared about that one. I'm not saying she's bad because she crushed at the roast of Tom Brady. She won the night at the roast of Tom Brady, which is why she had a great year. But that same week, like 3-4 days later, or maybe a week later, Someday You'll Die came out on Max and came and went. I don't think anyone cared. Nikki also hosted the reality series Lovers and Liars. She's been on Thursday Night Football with Late Hits, which is either invisible or terrible. Most people haven't encountered it. I watched Thursday Night Football. I've yet to actually see her do it, but I've seen the clips, and the clips were terrible.
I'm going to make this quick so we can get back to what the fans are really here for, more Wicked commercials. It is great to be here in Philadelphia, a city that feels the way batteries taste. It's the city where Rocky ran up the most famous steps of the Museum of Art, but never went inside to learn anything. Tonight, we had a face-off between Taylor Swift's boyfriend's older brother's old team and the Commanders. The Commanders, a name everyone loves and a logo that offends no one, except, of course, graphic designers.
In a few weeks, she will host the Golden Globe Awards, which are in 2025, so that doesn't really help you be Comedian of the Year. And, of course, she talked a lot about Taylor Swift. She told Consequence of Sound, I was just having a conversation with somebody about being successful, and like, how did you get to this place? And I'm like, I just agreed to things I didn't think I could do, and then I couldn't back out of them. That's funny. I attribute it to having this burst of confidence for yourself months ahead. So you go, oh yeah, I can do that. And then you deeply regret it the entire time until you do it. It happens almost every time where I have this massive panic that I'm going to be the worst ever, and I'm certain of it. There's no telling me, Nikki, this happens every time. No, this time is different. This is really bad. Wait, I just put something together. She's a big Taylor Swift fan. Will she make a joke about Taylor Swift at the Golden Globes? Because you remember one time Joe Coy made a joke about Taylor Swift. Do I need to play it for you? No, you probably remember it. Will she joke about Taylor Swift? Will Taylor Swift give her the ice look of death and ruin her career? That would be terrible. Maybe Nikki Glazer shouldn't host the Golden Globes. Don't make a joke about Taylor Swift. Taylor doesn't like those jokes. Nikki Glazer tells Consequences of Sound, the way to be the best comedian that I want to be is to be the most authentic and the most unfiltered. I'd say that I'm even more true to myself in the things I think on stage because no one's there to tell me, Nikki, stop. So, okay, go ahead. Send your notes in. Johnny Mac hates women comedians. Been there, done that, heard it. When I asked you who the comedian of the year is, who did you think of? Did you think of Nikki Glazer? Okay, it's not an absurd choice. Not at all. It is not an absurd choice. I don't think it's the right choice. Here are some people I wrote down. And I didn't really think about this long. This is like who popped into mind, because the comedian of the year should be somebody that pops into mind, right? I could make a case for Joe Rogan. There's an entire political party saying Joe Rogan won the election for the guy that won. So that alone, Joe Rogan, top podcast, Joe Rogan had a good year. Joe Rogan had a special. Joe Rogan had a good year. I'm not picking Joe Rogan. I could make a case for Tony Hinchcliffe. Some people thought Tony Hinchcliffe had cost Trump the entire election. Didn't turn out to be true. Kill Tony is a force in comedy. I know a lot of people are hating on it lately. I like the show. Tony Hinchcliffe also crushed at the Tom Brady roast, and apparently Tony Hinchcliffe wrote a lot of the jokes for some other people that were on that roast. I could make a case. Tony Hinchcliffe is the comedian of the year. Not picking him. John Mulaney in the mix, not picking him. Jim Gaffigan had a pretty good year. I didn't like his special. He had his whiskey. He was on Saturday Night Live. Everybody talked about Jim took a step up in, class isn't right because he's been at the top of the comedy game, but more people than ever know who Jim Gaffigan is. Jim had a great year. You can make a case for Jim Gaffigan, Comedian of the Year. My pick, Nate Bargatze. Hosted Saturday Night Live for a second time. Has a special coming out on the 24th. Has a TV special with Lorne Michaels. He announced a book that's 2025. He announced a movie that's 2025. Toured. Everybody likes him. Podcaster. Nate Bargatze would be my pick. Today, Minnie Kaling and Morris Chestnut will present the nominees for the 82nd Annual Golden Globes, which will be hosted by Nikki Glazer, who may or may not tell a joke about Taylor Swift. That's really interesting. Meanwhile, the Critics' Choice Awards will air on E! Sunday, January 12th, with host Chelsea Handler. That's a good choice for a host. The comedy nominees are Best Comedy Series, Abbott Elementary, English Teacher, Hacks, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, Somebody Somewhere, St. Dennis Medical, What We Do in the Shadows. I don't feel like reading the Best Actor and Best Actress today. Outstanding Talk Series, Hot Ones, Daily Show, Graham Norton, Mulaney, Kelly Clarkson, Colbert. Best Comedy Special, okay, I'll play along. Nominees are Ali Wong, Single Lady, nope. Jim Gaffigan, The Skinny, definitely nope. Kevin James, Irregardless, definitely nope. Nikki Glazer, Someday You'll Die, best of the four. Okay, you paying attention? Johnny Mac Deals Fair, that's the best of the four I've mentioned. Rachel Bloom's Death Let Me Do My Special on Netflix, didn't see it. Rami Youssef, More Feelings. I think I dislike the direction on that. Can I tell you, those are terrible nominees. None of those six are on my end of the year list. You want me to pick from those six? Nikki Glazer, Someday You'll Die. Delete that email you sent me 2 minutes ago. John, you're so sensitive. I know. I get mad when people accuse me of that. I have 2 daughters, guys. Conan O'Brien looked back on his interaction with Robin Williams. Conan told Eric Idle, I was lucky enough to have some great interactions with Robin Williams before he passed away. One of the most memorable examples to me is when I went through my whole Tonight Show debacle. Finally, the show's done. I don't know if I'll have a career anymore. What am I going to do next? I'm lying on the floor in the living room of my house. My phone rings. Pick it up. It's Robin Williams. I don't even know how he got my phone number. Williams asked, how you holding up, Chief? And he said, you're going to be fine. You're going to be great. Then Williams, who's into bicycling and knew Conan liked to bike, told him to go down to a bike shop in Santa Monica where Robin had a cruiser set up for him. Robin said, just head on down there, ride around. You'll feel better. And I went down. It was a Colnago, which is a very nice bike. And he said, I told him to paint it in these crazy Irish colors. I get down there, and I mean, it's the ugliest. It was just greens and shamrocks and everything. And he was like, you're going to like that bike, Chief. Don't worry about it. I thanked him many times. I just couldn't believe he was thinking about me. Meanwhile, on Conan's podcast back in September, he welcomed Katharina, who's a fan in Austria. During that conversation, Conan asked if he could be a guest vocalist in her metal band Cringe Blizzard. Conan has shared on social media that he did indeed go to Austria and sing with Cringe Blizzard. People speculate he was in Austria to film more episodes of Conan O'Brien Must Go. If you're looking at your calendar for 2025 and be like, I have absolutely nothing to do. I have no idea how I would possibly pass the time. Like, I just have absolutely no friends, nothing to watch on TV, no video games, no movies I want to see. What am I going to do? Well, good news. Greg Gutfeld is touring. His tour starts. Boy, that was a shot. Gutfeld's tour starts March 15th. Looks like he's doing 2 shows a month on one weekend. I would look at it. So it's like April 26th, 27th, May 17th, 18th. And it'll wrap up October 5th in Sugar Land, Texas. Kevin Hart, he's never afraid to work. He's got yet another gig. Are you flying Qatar Airways, Qatar QATAR? Some of you pronounce it Qatar. Those guys, they've got an airline. And the in-flight video is going to be Kevin Hart. How annoying is that going to be? Those videos are annoying enough. Imagine Kevin Hart doing Kevin Hart things. Kevin Hart said, buckle up. This safety video is unlike anything you've seen on board a luxury airliner before. I've loved partnering with Qatar Airways to produce a video that passengers will not only pay attention to, but remember for a long time coming, or at least until their next flight. Good news, the film will be available in January, and I believe only January. Johnny Mac, you've been sassy since you got your voice back. I know that I'm a little sassy lately. Yes, I admit it. The LA Times caught up with Bella Baharia. Bella's the chief. Did you hear my voice crack there? I was going to make an edit because you heard me do the pickup. I'm leaving it. I was like Peter Brady there for a second. Chief content officer for Netflix. Bella said audiences can feel and are pretty attuned when something does feel like it's authentic. Our strategy has always been about, we love comedy, our members love comedy, and we also know that they have lots of different tastes. It's also to make sure that we have comedy in lots of different formats. We're not just narrow, like those hilarious guys. And so that's why it ranges from series to film to live to stand-up all over the world. Jason Kelsey is getting ready for his big, exciting January late-night show on ESPN at 1 in the morning. Keith Cosrow is the vice president and head of content at NFL Films, and Keith spoke to The Hollywood Reporter about Kelsey's show. According to Cosrow, Kelce said, "I want to have a live band with horns. It's got to have a horn section." Kelce was recently on Kimmel and said, "I love late night shows. I've always loved them. I remember at sleepovers watching Conan O'Brien with my friends." They Call It Late Night with Jason Kelsey will originate from Philadelphia at Kelsey's request. Ross Katzover is another senior exec at NFL Films and says, "Comedy is hard. Sports and comedy is hard. Us doing essentially a live studio show is something very new and exciting, but Jason is just a force of nature, and we're so excited to be in business with him." They Call It Late Night with Jason Kelsey, Friday, January 3rd on ESPN. And I think, understanding how clocks work, I think by Friday, January 3rd, they actually mean 1 a.m. Saturday, January 4th. But I'll fact check that and get back to you. Oh, speaking of fact checking, a friend of the show, Jason Zinnemann from the New York Times, he hit me up on Threads responding to one of my comments. He said, let me find it. I had threaded, we don't have a date for Burr. Zinnemann wrote me back, March 2025. I don't know why I thought Burr was the December one. What is the December one, Johnny Mac? I don't know. The Hulu publicists don't want you to know either. That's how you wind up on the pirate ship with Captain Hook, watching it over at his place, you know? I don't know why I'm punchy. I guess I'm feeling better. All right, see you tomorrow.